early, so it's not a huge loss. But man, when you've got a clear number one and a clear number two, and you're getting consistent production from both of them, and everybody knows whose role is what, like, that is a huge strength and advantage for your hockey team. So hopefully it turns out nothing serious. That's been my MO on the Wild all year. Get healthy, stay healthy. Those are the concerns. I'm not really caring about anything else until we get past the All-Star break. This is just another one of those examples, and that's your Balls on Ice hockey talk. NBA balls dribble. The Wolves are still mediocre at best. The Warriors are still a one-loss team, but definitely the best in the NBA. And the Clippers are still a one-win team, the definitely worst in the NBA. And everybody else is just kind of fighting for relevancy and attention. Or if you're the San Antonio Spurs, you're fighting to stay under the radar while still being off to a phenomenal start by anybody's measures. So there's your basketball talk. Balls dribble. NCAA college basketball top 25 next week. Maybe. That's kind of the new NASCAR. They're the first ones on the chopping block in this current sports season. So that leaves us with UFC 195, WWE, and our Balls Deep Thought of the Day, which, man, I got to get to that. So UFC 195, all you're going to get, this. It's coming up this Saturday, January 2nd. The main event is the champion, Robbie Lawler, versus Condit. Could be a really good match. Lawler might even lose the title. Who knows? Condit's got that kind of mean streak to him. A little bit of Conor McGregor to him, I guess one could say. However, Lawler's very flaw-free for the most part when it comes to his fighting style. As far as a main event draw, this should not be anywhere near what Ronda versus Holly and what McGregor versus Aldo did in the previous two UFCs leading, before this. We will go over the full match card results on next week's show. So you won't just get the main event results. You will get all of the results. I'm sure the online prelims start around 5:30, as they usually do. The free prelims on Fox Sports 1 start at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and then the pay-per-view event starts at 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. And sorry I can't devote more time and attention to the rest of the match card or any of the matches in detail, but that's just the way it works. Like I said, we'll recap it better next week. Okay, WWE news / pro wrestling news. John Cena is finally back from his 2-month absence / vacation. He came back on Raw this week. Vince has been on Raw 2 weeks in a row, pulled the whole getting arrested thing this last week. Yeah, boy, they're not recycling old storylines. Other than that, a lot of people had the week off from WWE due to the holidays, as they're usually touring and working year-round. We are officially on the road to WrestleMania. We've got the Royal Rumble pay-per-view coming up here in just a couple weeks. That is the first pay-per-view of that road to WrestleMania season. One announcement has been made for the Royal Rumble, and that is who the first entrant will be, and it is going to be Big Show. Assumingly, I don't know what the angle is. I missed it. Maybe working for the Authority, just trying to guarantee as many eliminations and as hard of a path for people to come through as possible. I don't know, again, what the writing is there. But anyway, that's all we really can talk about WWE news. Lucha Underground is currently filming their second season. It is scheduled to start around the end of January, I believe, is when the first episode of the new season will debut, somewhere approximately January 27th on the El Rey Network. It is the best filmed wrestling that you can watch here in America. Rey Mysterio has signed on now with the second season. Not sure how many episodes we'll have to watch of it before we get to episodes with him in regards to where he signed and where they started filming and writing and things of that nature. But should be an epic sequel season to the debut. Couldn't be better beyond 5-star season that was Lucha Underground Season 1 last year. So can't wait for that to start at the end of January. All right, that is all of our topics. Now it is time for Balls Deep Thought of the Day, and we have a very, very special Balls Deep Thought of the Day on this week's show. I comprised a special year-end countdown list, because it is our New Year's end of the year episode, of the top 15 athletes, professional sports figures of 2015. That is why it is 15. I couldn't just make a top 10 list like normal people do. I'm not the type of person. I have to be different. So I decided I would take the number of the year and make that the number on the list. So in the rare event that 20 years from now I am still doing the show, I am going to likely be regretting this idea, as I will be forced to be doing the top 35 of 2035. But for now, it is simply the top 15 of 2015, and again, these are athletes and sports figures. So, like commissioners, like Roger Goodell is eligible, stuff like that. And these aren't necessarily who were the most successful. These were who were the most memorable, who left the biggest imprint and impact on, who had the most memorable years, who was the most talked about, who dominated popularity and discussion and debate and all those things. That is what this list is. It is not a success list. So we start at number 15, and at number 15 we go to the world. Now, okay, before I say it, just about every sport has a representative here, and yeah, there you go. All right, so at number 15, starting off the list, just barely edging out the honorable mentions, who we will get to before we get to number 1, was Novak Djokovic. He won 3 of 4 tennis Grand Slam majors this year. That's a remarkable season. Anytime you do it, is really cementing himself as entertaining, and as this is his era. He is the tennis man, period. And again, won 3 freaking majors. If he had a little better competition, or had won all 3 of them in a row and was going for the calendar Grand Slam a la someone else who's a little higher up on this list, he would have been higher up on this list. But that wasn't the case, and he stayed out of controversy and stuff like that. Wasn't too off, anything juicy stories. So Novak Djokovic comes in, opening the list at number 15. Moving quickly on to number 14, a comeback story in the world of baseball, one Alex Rodriguez. Came back to the New York Yankees unwelcomed, supposedly steroid-free, and was just hitting the cover off the ball the majority of the season. An all-star snub. Led his team to a one-game-and-done play-in, play-off berth. Had they won that one game and advanced, he might have been higher on this list as well. Had he made the All-Star game, he might have been on this higher list as well. Not kept in mind for any end-of-season awards, kind of blacklisted from that. But love him or hate him, he was a significant story this year, had a very good season. So he's number 14. Moving on, number 13, another old guy, kind of talking about for one of the last times, if not the last time, that being Jeff Gordon. This was his farewell season as a full-time driver on the NASCAR circuit. He did end up winning some races during the year, made the Cup chase playoff at the end of the season, was in the Final Four in the last week in the chase for the Cup, could have won the Cup, was in contention to win the Cup in his final race as a full-time pro driver, fell short, otherwise he would have definitely been higher, or had he won a really big race like Daytona or something like that, he might have been higher on the list as well. He enters at number 13, and just one spot above him would be our other NASCAR driving representative, and at number 12 it is Mr. Joey Logano. That's right, I say Mr. Joey Logano, because this year the kid phenom became a man who is fulfilling his potential. Won Daytona, just won all kinds of races, had bad luck basically in the chase for the Cup, but more a victim of the format than anything. I think if you were to take the whole year into account and just go, what NASCAR driver had the best year, made the biggest impact, had the biggest breakthrough, all of those things, it's Joey Logano. He was all over the place, and he's polarizing. You love him or you hate him. He's not necessarily the most likable guy. So he, the new generation youth movement in that sport, holds down our number 12 spot for a year-end countdown of the top 15 athletes / sports figures of 2015. Ahead of him, just missing out on the top 10 at number 11, our other pro baseball representative, National League MVP Bryce Harper. Hit, I want to say, over 50 home runs. He's good looking if you're a female and are into that sort of thing. He's got a whole lot of attitude. You love the guy, you hate the guy. He's fun and exciting to watch. He plays with passion. He's getting into fights with teammates in the dugout. Papelbon, like I said, won the MVP. Want to say he hit over 50 dingers or close to 50 dingers. Had the Nationals been a playoff contender or made the playoffs at the end of the season, he would have cracked the top 10. It was his team's failure as a success that just kept him outside of the top 10. Bryce Harper, National League MVP, number 11. Now, starting the top 10 part of our top 15 in 2015, at number 10, it is new UFC champion Conor McGregor. He really came on this year, dominated, established himself as a draw for fights, seems to really understand the fight promoting business, as well as delivering then come time in the ring. And he finally now the UFC has a male superstar that can, be a Mike Tyson level star, a Ronda Rousey level star. I'm not talking talent and championships and things like that. I'm talking attention and popularity, household names, things like that. So Conor McGregor, congratulations, you're number 10 on our list. Number 9, our WWE representative, Mr. Money in the Bank, Seth Rollins, cashing in at WrestleMania to become the WWE champion. Basically, it was the year of Seth Rollins in WWE until he went down with injury. However, for this list, that is story-worthy, impact-worthy. It helps, in measuring how big he was this year. That's what we're trying to do. So Seth Rollins, your WWE representative, at number 9, and could have even been a little higher possibly too. At number 8, we've got our soccer representative and our pro sports figure representative, one Sepp Blatter, the president of FIFA, just surrounded by scandal. Everything men's soccer talk this year regarded FIFA and the scandal and the eliminating and removing of their president and all his corruption and that ongoing process. It is still a story in progress. Sepp Blatter, number 8. Moving on to number 7, we had Floyd Money Mayweather. Still made a buttload of money. Was in a couple fights. Debatably his last fight ever. Not the Pacquiao one, but the one after that to the guy whose name we don't even remember. It was a fun one to say, though. I do remember that. It was like Francisco. That's fun to say. Francisco. Something like that. It was like, it wasn't Francisco. But anyway, enough Will Ferrell elf references. Floyd had a big year, had big fights. Might be the last time we ever see him. People talked about him a lot. He made a lot of money. His fights were boring and unentertaining, but still he was significant impact-wise on the year 2015. Floyd Money Mayweather, number 7. Moving on to number 6, we have my other tennis representative, Serena Williams. One of the biggest female athletes of the year, by far one of the greatest female athletes of all time. She won the first 3 Grand Slams in a row, was going for the calendar Grand Slam, which hadn't been accomplished since the early 80s when Steffi Graf did it, garnering all kinds of attention for her sport. Not just herself, but the other people in it, going for like her 3rd or 4th U.S. Open championship in a row to win the calendar Grand Slam, losing in crazy, entertaining, shocking, upset fashion to a no-name that was just historically memorable. Everything about her run this year was historic, epic, amazing, memorable, huge, impactful, and that's why Serena Williams is number 6 on the list. Now, the top 5, and then the show is done. Number 5, representing the world of hockey, and he would have been higher had he not been a hockey player, and he might even be lower. Maybe he should be a little lower because he plays hockey, but number 5 is Patrick Kane of the Chicago Blackhawks. You've got him winning the championship in the summer. You've got all the rape charges, after in the off season. You've got this season where he comes out and has almost 30 games in a row of scoring a point or goal or whatever the heck ridiculous streak he had, going most of the hockey season thus far. Patrick Kane dominates the world of the NHL. He is your current, Sidney Crosby, Jaromir Jagr, Eric Lindros, Wayne Gretzky, the guy that everyone talks about. Sorry, Alex Ovechkin, you're no longer the dude. However, his team